Yeah.
All right, we're live. Hey, so it's week 2, and it's we're in NRGY 243. This is solar PV installation. So just want to catch everybody up. This it's week 2, so today I'm just going to cover the syllabus, do some intros, and catch us up to speed as much as I can for the first 2 weeks of class. I also want to just make the caveat statement that I was a little, caught off guard coming back into town last week because I was not expecting to teach this course this semester. Greg Guccio has taught it in the past. He's a local NABCEP certified installer. Greg will be part of the faculty as much as I can include him. Unfortunately, we did not have the budget this year to pay adjuncts. But what Greg is going to do for the course is actually do a lot of the hands-on. So we'll be in class Tuesdays from 10:30 to noon, and right now we're in my office, obviously, but we'll get a classroom. It looks like we've got enough students to justify that. That's a good thing. And then the lectures are going to be available sort of in 3 modes. Face-to-face, like we're doing right now. I'm also going to make these video conference links available, so if you can see right here, that's the one for week 1. We didn't use it, obviously. Here's the one for week 2. And in fact, let me just get week 2 active. Were you guys able to get through the week 1 assignments? Was that not yet? Okay.
I finished up last night.
Okay, that's all right. Well, and again, don't worry about the due dates. We'll catch everybody.
If that was accurate or not.
It's
doubled. Yeah, so I wasn't
sure.
set.
Yeah, and I also I'll just apologize. Oh, I see it is kind of doubled, isn't it?
Yeah, there's like 2 instances.
Weird. Okay. Well, anyway, here is your week 1 quiz. That's probably the most important thing. Let me just dip in there right now and see who's taking it or not. A couple attempts. That's good. Looks like people can get in there. So Curtis, you took it?
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
It was all right.
Okay. And Eric is taking it too. Looks like the grades weren't too bad. Okay. So I'll leave that first one open.
I took it too.
Through next week. It could be you took the other one. It looks like there's a couple snafus in the shell, and I think it could have been that when the shell was reloaded, maybe duplicate versions got in. So, okay, well, I'll take a look at that too.
I took it from memory the first time.
Oh, nice.
Didn't do so well.
Well,
They have 60 on it. There's only 5 questions, so.
yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, and a lot of the stuff for the quiz 1 is just review of what you've seen in 105 and 106 Wally's courses, so that shouldn't be that bad. Okay. I am still working on getting myself a copy of the textbook. They are in the bookstore. Did you guys get copies yet? They're sitting there.
Yeah,
Bought it online.
I'm still waiting.
You got a digital copy? Okay. So there's multiple ways to get a copy of the textbook.
Digital copy?
A little cheaper, too.
Yeah.
Some people prefer, an actual
Well,
physical text.
That's what I like, because I
I'm
usually
waiting.
get it switching in the screen.
Yeah.
Telling me my book, I don't know why it's gonna take a month to ship. They're
I
saying
don't know.
on the 19th, I'm like,
You get it next semester.
Huh.
yeah.
I signed up for that student thing on Amazon. It was like 2-day free shipping or whatever, but it took them 9 days to give me my building efficiency book. I just got it this morning for our
And
next
mine
class
came
after
in
this.
2 days.
Really?
Hmm.
No, I just got mine.
Huh.
So I know. I guess it was 7 days now because I ordered it
Yeah,
Tuesday. It is 7 days, and I just got it this morning.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, pick up a copy of the exam. The syllabus from 2015 is still up there. It's still valid. Last year, Connor Darby taught the course, and Connor works in Bozeman. He and his partner, Ryan Thornton, have done a lot of really cool PV installations around the country. A couple reasons Connor's not teaching it this spring. One is he just had a baby, and the other one, he's really busy with work. The PV industry in Bozeman is really blowing up, and so he's got a lot of work to do. A couple other things to note: the final exam for this course is going to be the NABCEP Certificate of Knowledge. So in in a lot of the trades, what the Department of Labor is looking for and what a lot of employers are looking for is some type of third-party certificate. So the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners is one such, third party. And so when you graduate, or when you finish this course and graduate, you'll say, hey, I've got the NABCEP Certificate of Knowledge. How much is that worth? Well, it just depends what people value. I can give you another example. So,
We don't get PhD after our name?
well, there's no PhD. And on the other hand, like, what's a PhD worth, right? I mean, what's it allow me to, it does allow me to sit on this side of the lectern. But what I was going to say, though, another thing, I'm a professional engineer. I've got this, engineering ring. This is the Order of the Engineer. This is, they're two separate things. But, what's a professional engineer worth? Well, I sat through an exam, not unlike the NABCEP exam, and, demonstrated that I know a lot more engineering than someone that just didn't take the exam. So that's my point on the NABCEP. Is that, you sat through that and you know what the other people in that who've taken that exam know. So there's the value there. Okay, so as we just said, a lot of what you saw on the first exam or the first quiz is kind of a repeat from 105 and 106, knowing your AC, but more importantly, your DC. So first couple weeks is just history and current applications of solar PV. We want you to know the basics of electrical and solar terminology, major components of a PV system. This spring, we're going to have the opportunity to work with at least 2, maybe even as many as 4 different installations. So there is one installation going on the roof of Lomason. A few years ago, Robin Saha, who is a professor in environmental studies, was just sitting there in lecture, and the EVST, the tree huggers we were talking about before, we're all sort of complaining. Why are we so reliant on fossil fuels? Why don't we see more PV? Why don't we see more wind, et cetera, et cetera? And a lot of times it comes down to money. It comes down to money. The technologies are there, and it's just sort of information and cash flow. So Saha and another student said, let's have an opt-in fee. It's a $4 CRELF fee that students can pay every year to allow other students to compete for grants. So we got 2 of them last year. One was north of $10,000, maybe $15K, to put an array on Lomason. So that has already gone out for bid, and Solar Plexus got the bid. Lee Trebner, Rip. There's a couple guys, Lee and Rip. Rip is the contractor, and what he'd love to do is include NRGY 243 students on that bill. What I'm going to encourage him to do, you guys, if you want to just take a couple notes here, I just want to give you a heads up on my own travel schedule. What I'm going to encourage him to do is focus that install when I am going to be out of town. So just so you guys know, I'm leaving Missoula a couple weeks before spring break. So this is Saturday the 19th. I'm going to be out of town. So what I'm going to hope we can do here in town is get Guccio and Lee to do some of their hands-on with you guys. So you're actually up on the roofs and doing some installs. Because I'm going to be in Grand Rapids listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm not sure if you've heard of him or not, but just hanging out with my family. My kids are on spring break here, so I will not be in town that week either.
So this is starting March 14th?
March 19th. Yeah, I will be in lecture on the 15th, but I'll be gone on the 22nd. I'll be gone on the 29th. What I'm hoping to do, since the class is online, is just give an online lecture, and by then I think what we'll have going are these little links. Let's get back into the shell here. What I hope to have going are these Yeah, it is duplicated. Sorry about that. These video conference links, you should be able to click on that. If you've ever done, FaceTime or Google Hangout or Skype, they're exactly like that. So, and by then we should have a classroom, and I'll just teach one of you guys how to log in, and we can communicate that way if there's questions on the quizzes and all that. Okay, so where was I on my schedule? And then I will be back. I'm looking at tickets to be back on the 12th, and I may or may not be here on that first lecture on the 12th. I might be able to lecture later that day, but so that's just a heads up on my own travel schedule.
Basically 3 weeks gone.
Yeah. But like I said, the course is online. I'll be here as much as I can, and keep up with the forums and all that. Okay, so back to the syllabus. So major components of the PV system, some of the hands-on you're going to see will help you with that. Describe factors that affect solar output. So that'll be both natural factors as well as technological factors. Estimate PV system output and cost. So the main number that we're primarily going to be concerned with here is just sort of dollars per watt. So right now, you go out and you shop for PV cells, you might see them as cheap as 61 cents a watt. So if you've got a 1,000-watt system, that's $661 just for the cells. Of course, then you've got inverter cost, charge controller cost if you run batteries, battery cost if you're off grid, and then of course installation cost. So it's mainly going to come down to dollars per watt, and then over time, what you're hoping to get back are kilowatt hours. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what's my financial payback period? So we'll run through a bunch of those numbers. Okay, perform a residential electrical load analysis. So, what are all the appliances in your house? I'm looking at my own Northwestern Energy bill right here. Might as well just take a peek at it while we're looking. So here's the kilowatts on the top, and if I just kind of hard to see, but if we look, I had a lot of kilowatt usage in May, and I had a lot in November, a little bit less in December, a little bit less in January, and I think it just kind of goes with the seasons, mainly lighting. As it gets darker, you see a lot more expense from lighting. Same thing with natural gas, not as big an issue unless you're using electricity for heat in general. And I think if you're taking building energy efficiency 235, or in this case John Freer's 283, you'll probably notice that it's always less expensive to heat with gas rather than electricity in terms of just money per kilowatt hour or money per megajoule, what have you.
How much is a monthly bill for you?
Well, I'm looking here. I was a few months behind because I was out of town, and
Just average.
yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. Less than $200. So anywhere between $100 and $200, I think, and that's family of four. And another number to kind of keep in mind is if someone's like, okay, so what does it take to run a house? In general, it's about a kilowatt, to run a house. Another thing, hopefully you guys know by now in 243, I want to make sure that you know fundamentally what the difference is between energy and power. So anytime I say kilowatt, you're like right away, okay, that's power. If I say kilowatt hour, right away, okay, that's energy. And energy is just power times time. So, a kilowatt, if you were, in fact, let's just get a little bit of math going, some review, things that I'm hoping you're thinking about anyway. Energy just equals power times time. So right off the bat, if I told you your house is running at 1 kilowatt, so I'll just write it like this, P house equals 1 kilowatt, right? There we go. The energy, let's just say for one house month, house month equals the power of the house times the time for a month. Make sense? Right? So right there, we can just make an estimate, if my house were running at an average of 1 kilowatt, how many kilowatt hours am I, and then what's my cost going to be? So I'm just kind of answering the question here. So from there, I'm going to take, just 1 kilowatt, and that's the average, right? It's going to be less sometimes, more some other times. And then for the time in a month, I'm looking at 30 days per month, and I'll write it this way. And then I'm looking at 24 hours per day. Get a little bit of math going. So the days cancel. And basically what I'm coming up with is kilowatt. So that this kilowatts right here is going to combine with the H in hours. So I'm just looking at 30 times 24. 30 times 2, 4 equals 720. 720 times 1 kilowatt is 720 kilowatt hours. So 720 kilowatt hours. Now, if I want to turn that into dollars, and I heard that Northwestern Energy's bill just went up after they bought the dams. You guys hear about this? So
Well, and taxes too.
Yeah.
To pay for their taxes.
right. So I guess when Northwestern Energy bought the dams to comply with renewable energy purchasing. So just to back up a little bit, Northwestern Energy can buy electricity basically from anywhere. As long as they're attached to some grid, they can buy from a solar farm over here, wind farm over there, nuclear power plant over there, coal-fired power plant, etc. If they actually own the dams, they're going to have a little more control over, well, I don't know if they charge themselves or what, but they're at least ensured that they're going to have access to that energy more readily than somebody else who could, buy that hydroelectric energy away and leave them holding the bag buying non-renewables, which they are compelled to do. So that's part of the market issue. But I'm just going to look at my bill here and see if I can't.
It's a game.
Yeah.
I'm selling you coal power cheaper than they're selling you hydropower.
It is a game. Yeah. It really is. With coal at $15 a ton, it's cheaper than wood, which is kind of amazing, but that's the reality. Let you guys see if you can actually find. Here's another game. See if you can find the dollars per kilowatt hour on that thing, or cents per kilowatt
I have
hour.
MEC, so
Yeah. See if you,
supposedly it's all renewable almost.
yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah. But in the meantime, let's look at so dollars is going to equal dollars per. Did you find it?
That's delivery electrical.
Yeah, there's a number of rates for electric delivery. There's transmission delivery, which is like almost 1 cent.
Fraction.
Okay, one.
Exchange credit distribution delivery. There's no distinct like this much per kilowatt hour. Everybody see?
It's more confusing. People keep shelling out that money.
Yeah.
You could definitely you have average kilowatt hours per day, average cost per day, so you could.
Oh, okay, you do it that way.
divide one by the other.
Yeah, I'm just going to go from what I recall, and that
Check it.
in that power in Montana from Northwestern Energy is about $0.10 a kilowatt hour. So right from there, again, I'm just going to do units, dollars per kilowatt hours times kilowatt hours. If I've got 0.1 dollars per kilowatt hour, sorry about the sloppiness there, I'm 720.
72 bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Kilowatt hours equals $72. And that's, so, like I said, it's typically going to be more than that because I did not include the natural gas
Right.
charge.
But I'm all electric, mine's over 300,
Oh, really? Okay.
except for my wood stove.
Yeah.
But we have
Well, that's
animal
without
heaters.
We're,
Yeah, you run space heaters.
you know,
Well, the water heaters, a lot of water heaters.
break it up
for the
over
animals.
12 months.
Okay.
That's like about, they dropped it now, it's like $89 a month for us.
Is that for gas and electric?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That sounds like my dad's.
But I think
It's
this
just two of-
month was like around 150.
And it's just two of you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So a lot of
Eight of us.
it. So a lot of this is So a lot of this is going to come. Well, you might be paying $300, but it's fewer dollars per person. So there's a lot of different ways to slice that pie. Yeah.
Maybe some of the adults in
Energy,
the house should start
electric
helping out.
supply,
Yeah.
isn't that?
Besides me.
Yeah, so that'd be.
Was
What's it
this
say? Which one?
the bottom electric supply, is that it?
Oh, could be. Yeah, it could be. There's no units on it, so it very well could be. So you might have seen it there. Electric supply, and I'm looking at 6.625 cents per kilowatt hour, and that actually could be the rate. I'm not sure, but I'm actually going to talk with Northwestern Energy. With any luck, they'll actually call during lecture because I'm a little behind on my bill, and I'll just ask them, is it really 6.625 cents per kilowatt hour or not? Okay, well, good.
Take your own meter readings.
Yeah. Well, I think they probably need to do it on their own, the meter readings, right, for...
You can go out there and look at it.
Oh, sure, yeah. And I think, now, it's just, you've got the spinning dial and the little LCD, but I think that the days of the dial are gone. I just in Michigan, and you're not really, any new installation.
mine hasn't.
Yeah.
But I'm MEC, so it looks like my transformer's gonna fall off the pole any
Yeah.
minute, so.
Well, and that said, the electric co-ops are not compelled to buy renewable energy the same way that the larger utilities are, but it seems like that's happening. I think a lot of them are seeing now that in terms of providing their customers the lowest rate possible, which most utilities would want to do to stay in business, they are seeing that renewables are less expensive in the long run.
Was it MEC or is it Northwest Energy putting a solar farm in?
Oh, that actually might be. Well, there's a few. There's a few. I think in Lolo it might be the. It's the Ravalli, isn't it? Isn't it
No,
the?
it's electric co-op.
Oh, it is Mizzle Electric Co-op.
It
Nice.
is,
Yeah.
and I think it's like $700 to purchase one.
Yeah, something
Not
right.
purchase
Yeah,
the
they-
panel, but purchase the energy.
Because we all own the company.
Yeah, you share.
Right.
And you share.
Right. And so that's a little different. In a lot of ways, doing a co-op on a larger project, you can see how that would be more cost effective, right? Because it can go in quicker. There's less drawings and overhead of every single house having its own solar panel. But then, like you said, you buy in, you put your investment up front, and then you share the electricity down the road. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways to take care of that. Okay, super. Well, I know I'm kind of back and forth between the syllabus here, but I just wanted to get on one of the learning objectives right there. So, residential load analysis, like I said, 1 kilowatt is kind of the, and again, I'll just let you know the way I tend to think of things in terms of engineering. So I think of things in powers of 10. Like I know it's way more than 100 watts, and it's way less than 10 kilowatts. So in general, a house is running at about 1 kilowatt. So that's another way just to think about it and not have to have too many numbers in your head. So just I think of it in terms of 3. Just 10 to the third watts is about what it takes to run the house. Okay. Perform a residential solar resource site analysis. This will be really fun. The Solar Pathfinder. It's it's kind of old school meets new school because it's just a dome, and we'll get into it. I've got one. It's just sitting right down in Naomi's office. It's just a little dome that takes a spherical shadow of everything around you. So if this is where your PV panels are going to be, like, okay, there's a tree there, there's a utility pole there, the neighbor's house is over here. Let's move that around so that we can maximize the amount of energy coming into the PV system. Pretty cool. We'll get some
So if
some
you're
good.
analyzing this time of year and there's deciduous trees, does that take that into account?
Well,
or-
what you'll have to see, and it's a little tricky. If you do stick the thing out this time of year and you've got a deciduous tree, you're gonna want to be sure that you can at least see the outline of that thing, because you know that later on in the year that'll start cutting into your kilowatt hours you receive. And you could also, if you wanted to get fancy, do some extrapolation and say, okay, the tree is this big now. It's going to grow and, get into my energy down the road. Okay, tools of the trade, safe working practices. Hopefully these different projects, the Lomason, we also have some funds to put solar panels on the West Campus building now. And then Greg Guccio's got a couple other projects in town that he'll expose you to. Digital multimeter and insulation meter. I've got the insulation meter sitting on the shelf right behind you. That's just basically measuring watts per square meter.
Is that thing costs $1,500?
Some of them are a little expensive.
So I
Yeah.
typed it in on the internet. Yeah, I need this.
Yeah.
And I seen optional on the syllabus. And
Yeah.
thank you.
It depends. You can get a little analog off the shelf thing for $40 or $50, but the digitals are going to run you a little more.
Yeah, it was a Sun SR, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
exact model.
No, they're like cars. You can spend as much or as little as you want. And usually you get what you pay for. So draw a plan view, site electrical diagrams for PV installation. I'll share with you what we've done previously through some of Connor's work. Oh, and one other project I wanted to mention. This National Science Foundation grant that I have right now, Connor Darby, who talked this last year, and his partner Ryan Thornton, through this National Science Foundation grant, we were able to give them $100,000 to build a PV trainer. So I just got a really good call from Orion last week. They have purchased the trailer, they've purchased the container that goes on top, and right now they're in the process of purchasing 2 different types of panels as well as inverters that will go inside this thing. So the idea is if we want to go and hold a PV training course somewhere else in the state, we actually drive the trailer there and do the hands-on there. It's something that this is a first for Montana. It does not exist. A lot of times, and I've even had PV installers here in Missoula say, "Hey, where do I go to get trained?" Go to Colorado. So, so what we're really trying to do now is actually compete with some of the New Mexicos, the Arizonas, the Californias, the Colorados that have been doing this, and we're sort of marching this technology north. Okay. Basic knowledge of the National Electric Code. There is a copy in the library, and I think I've got a copy. Yeah, in fact, pull that white book there from behind you, Cody. It's even further back. NEC 2011. Yeah, if you can yank that guy. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Dislocate your shoulder for me. It's all the way jammed back in there. Yeah. Okay, so let's show you a copy. This is not on the syllabus. You can typically download a PDF of this guy for free. And if I'm not mistaken, Montana is still on the 2011 code. So these codes are typically updated every 3 years. I think there is a 2014 code. I'm not sure if Montana has updated the 2014 code or not. In here, you're going to have low voltage. You'll have, mid-range voltage like you typically see in a residence. You'll also have high voltage. One thing that just came up recently in one of my industry student forums is that a lot of times, the question always comes, can you graduate from Missoula College, Energy Technology, and start working right away on the roof? The answer is yes. I've got Steve Fisher, works with a guy here in town, Big Sky Solar and Wind, and he's able to get up there and do all the low voltage on the panel. I've got another student, Nathan Farrow, who really wanted to get into full-time installation. He realized if he's going to do the high voltage stuff, if he's going to do it, the whole thing himself, he also has to have an electrician's license. So the question is, do you want to do the whole thing yourself or just be the guy up on the roof? So, and yet another colleague, Bobo Kant here in town. I've done a little bit of engineering analysis for him, just saying I'm going to be on the roof, put the panels on. He's an electrician and installer, and he's kind of a one-man show, and Bobo has actually been pretty handy in the past getting us some hands-on, but it sounds like Guccio is going to do that for us as well. So lots of options here in town. Okay, basic knowledge, NEC, describe the NABCEP and take the course. This is your final exam, and most of it is what you're going to see on the quizzes. So the stuff you've seen in 105, 106. Currently, I am not NABCEP certified. In fact, as the instructor, it's kind of weird. I'm not even allowed to see the exam. But I'll make sure that Connor and Greg help you out. So if there's any kind of tricky things that we're not covering in class, that you're prepared for that. And typically we have about between 60 and 80% pass rate. So if you're keeping up with the quizzes, chances are you'll pass that exam and become NABCEP certified. You don't have to pass the exam to pass the course. You just have to take the exam to pass the course. So, okay.
So is that something you have to do in person somewhere?
Yeah, it does. And what we'll do, there'll be a lot of and it sounds like most people are in town. They're testing centers, around the state, around the country. Naomi Branson will be the proctor, and so what they're trying to do is make sure that I'm not in there coaching you or helping you. So somebody who actually does not know any of the answers to the exam will be the proctor to it.
Right.
So that's kind of their...
I'm worried about making it. By May, I'll be 16, 18 hours a day.
Yeah, well, hopefully what we can do is just schedule it with enough time so you can just say this is the date for the exam. Because it would be good to have it knocked out before the course ends. Okay. All right, so let's see how we're doing on time. Okay, so we're right at 30 minutes. What I'm going to try to do, we've got an hour and a half once a week. I'm going to try to keep these just at 30 minutes. So let's just take a little break right now, then we can get back into the course.